What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the sports arena. I'm your man, Eric Wilson. Yes, on a Monday night, alongside my brother John Shear, Sideline Sports, NFL Alumni Media, and my man of 16 plus years, the West Coast to left coast, Pick Fork Lunch, ASU. He's a Sun Devil, Jerry. Make sure everybody knows that. My man Mike Harrison-Nudo's in the house. Gentlemen, what's going on? Good evening. How are you?
Hey, real quick. I was looking after I talked to you on the phone today. I was looking back. I got like a crazy memory thing, but it is. We did celebrate our Sweet 16, but you realize May will be 18 years, kid.
18. Wow.
18 because it was 05 when we went to that seminar.
It was.
Yeah.
18. See, like I said, 16 plus.
I know. Hey, look, we just need our license, man. We can age slowly. That's right. I like that. Oh, real quick before I start. My mom wanted to let me know she still likes you, and she's
do it, Mike. Do it.
She likes your wife even more. But my mom, this is from Mama Carrot-Nudo.
Yeah,
not my words. She said the Eagles will always stink, and the Jets are the best, and she wanted to say that to Kathy as well too. So she likes you, but she just had to let you know that.
And listen, as I have said to my mother, my uncle, my wife, and everybody else who has checked in on me, if I had to lose to anybody, I'm okay losing to the Jets.
I hope you know, Eric, I'm not checking in on you because I'm so happy. Pop that champagne, baby. 72 Dolphins. Still the only team to go undefeated. No Eagles, no Niners, no nobody, baby. Sorry.
Yeah, that's Dolphins English right there. No nobody. All right.
Tell you that. So that way you know.
Oh, listen.
Best record in football, by the way, Miami Dolphins.
We're 5-1. How are you the best record?
Tied with y'all for the best record.
Okay, but
best record, baby.
Fine. And let us welcome in my man, my co-host, the sports reporter without pay. Ray Lynn is in the building. What's up, champ?
Y'all tied with who for the best record, John?
That guy over there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, y'all. You just want to make sure y'all trip, man. Hey, shout out to Tyree and Check the Rock, man. I just came from filming another episode. We did like a NBA all-time draft. Y'all will catch that coming out soon. I was like, let me go over here because they probably talking crazy already. As soon as I jump in, John talking about Eric, we tied with y'all for the best record.
Did anybody check on Tyree?
Okay, all right. No, see, no, we ain't doing that. Get out of here. We ain't doing that tonight. We ain't doing that. No. All right. The big guard is just fine. But we're going to talk about it. So let's jump into the conversation tonight, gentlemen. Appreciate the three of y'all being here with me tonight on the Sports Arena, Monday night, 10 p.m. Y'all already know what time it is. So let's start with our Who knew I knew? All right. And John shares, since you seem to be wanting to run your lips tonight, I'm going to let you have the floor, John. Who is your sir? Who knew I knew?
I've been telling you this, Eric, the entire season. I've been telling you the entire season, and you told me, don't you put them Philadelphia Eagles on your lips. Don't you talk about my Eagles. You tell me not to mention the city of Philadelphia. You told me all season, but I tried telling you Jalen Hurts does not look like the same Jalen Hurts from last year. You know who has a better quarterback rating than Jalen Hurts? Baker Mayfield. Like, he has has a guy like Baker Mayfield have a better quarterback rating than Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts is what, 21st in quarterback rating? I mean, you have bums ahead of Jalen Hurts in quarterback rating. He's second in the league in interceptions at 7 touchdowns passing, 7 interceptions. Like, I tried telling you, Jalen Hurts, there's something that just doesn't look right. He's not comfortable. We're 6 weeks in. He's not seeing the field like last year. He's not running the ball like last year. Who knew about Jalen Hurts? Who knew about the Philadelphia Eagles? They're 5-1, but man, they look like a 3-3 football team. There's so much about this team. I've been trying to tell you, Eric, for weeks and weeks, but you just won't listen. Who knew? I knew.
Okay.
I just had to get that off my chest. It feels so good. I've been waiting all day.
John, listen. I don't ever run from a debate. I don't ever run from an argument. And I damn sure ain't running from getting all the smoke that I'm going to get tonight and moving forward because of what happened yesterday.
To be fair, I had to take it when Buffalo
Unlike some people who will find every excuse in the book why things happen, I am going to just sit here and do what I tell you to do each and every week. Zip your lips and deal with it. That's what I'm going to do tonight. So, moving forward, my man, my co-host, the sports reporter without pay, Ray Lynn, who, sir, is your who knew I knew?
I'm going to keep it real simple, man. I don't have no long, drawn-out, built-up soliloquy. We did our quarter season report last year, and y'all asked me who the MVP was. And I told y'all that the MVP was Tyreek Hill. And how does Tyreek Hill follow that up? I don't know, 6 receptions, 163 yards and a touchdown. Like, how many 150-yard game? And he went, what was his longest reception? 47. I was just saying last week he had more 50-yard receptions than every other team in the NFL. If we bring that number down to 45, it's even worse, right? Because he got a couple 48, 49-yard receptions, man. Again, what he's doing right now is just phenomenal. I've seen Calvin Johnson, I've seen Randy Moss, I've seen Antonio Brown in his prime, I've seen Julio Jones. Like, we have never seen anything like what Tyreek Hill is doing right now, right? The way he takes the top off the defense and just find ways to get open. And when he gets open and with space, man, it's just, it could always go to the house. Like, we saw him in Kansas City, but what he's doing now, unbelievable. And he's still my front runner for MVP. And right now he's playing like the best wide receiver in football. Pretty simple.
Mike Caratanudo, who's your who knew I knew, sir?
All right, I was going to switch it up. So apologies, Ray Lynn, because I was going to go with your guy, Jared Goff, because, yes, he is a Pac-12 quarterback. But, John, look, first of all, this whole Jalen Hurts thing is different. This who knew I knew. Yeah, you had to take it when Buffalo did that, because when when Tua played a real defense and got pushed around, he couldn't deliver. And I want to vomit sticking up for Jalen Hurts. That being said, it's one of those things where if you look at what they did yes, everybody said, oh, yeah, 45 passes. That's like way too much with the ball 45 times. Who's saying you're running on the Jets defense? Because, yes, with Trayvon Diggs injured and splitting hairs between Jets, Niners, Cowboys there when Trayvon Diggs is on the field, you're not running on that Jets defense. Robert Saleh can be as cocky as he wants, say what he wants about embarrassing certain quarterbacks, because there's 9 turnovers between those dudes. So I don't want to hear about Jalen Hurts. Yes, the last interception, kind of bad. But every quarterback has one. So, yes, my who knew I knew, there's nothing wrong with them. If there is, believe me, Cowboy Nation will jump up and down and spit out nickels for that one. But man, get out of here with that junk. There's something wrong with Jalen Hurts. Not the same. The dude is fine. They ran into a buzzsaw defense, which, back to my always original point, If you have a defense that can absolutely ball and has depth and coaches that know what they're calling, yes, the high flying will get simmered quite a bit, as the Dolphins found out against
without Sauce and Reed, their two best corners. Okay.
All right. So
that's right. They have depth. Thanks for proving my point even more.
John, zip your lips, because that is my who knew I knew. My who knew I knew is, as you see, I say congrats to the Jets, but it is the Jets defense. Because going in, of course, when I look and see who my opponent's going to be each and every week, referring to the Philadelphia Eagles, who they're playing, I look at the depth chart and I look at the injury report. I knew Sauce wasn't going to be there, but there was possibility that Fletcher might not play. There was possibility that Jamal Dean, might not be on the field. So I was looking at it from an offensive standpoint. And when I look at offense, I was like, oh, well, okay. Yes, the Jets have Dalvin Cook, and they've got Garrett Wilson, and they've got Randall Cobb, and they've got just guys who can play. Okay. But I'll definitely take my offense, because they're led by Jalen Hurts over the guy who shares the same last name as me, Zach Wilson. I was like, no. But my who knew I knew. I knew the Jets defense, they're a top-level defense. Damn it, I'll say they're I won't say they're the top defense in the entire NFL. But what they did yesterday was play their ball. And they shut down my Philadelphia Eagle offense. I am the first to sit here and give blame and accountability where it needs to be, but I'm not doing that tonight. You want to know why? Because we lost. So pick ourselves up and how we turn ourselves around. But for this moment, I knew the Jets defense was going to be difficult. I knew the Jets defense was going to be something that everybody needed to stand up and pay attention to. And they proved it week in and week out. They proved it week 1 against Buffalo. And there were people prior to the Aaron Rodgers injury saying that if the Jets can go 3-3 in these first 6 games, this is a team that is going to progress and get better. And we were talking about that when they had Aaron Rodgers under center. This team is now 3-3, and Zach Wilson is under center, which transitions, gentlemen, into our next topic, which is simply this. Will the Jets make the playoffs? Here is their remaining schedule. Okay, they're on a bye next week. Giants, Chargers, Raiders, Buffalo, Dolphins twice, as you see, Atlanta, Houston, Washington, Cleveland, New England. Are they going to make the playoffs with that remaining schedule being 3-3 right now? Ray?
No.
They won't.
No, so let me pull up my standings real quick. First off, I have $100 bet with somebody, and we made this bet in week 2 that they wouldn't make the playoffs. Right. The problem is it's the AFC. That's the problem. It's not about the Jets. It's not like their chances are going to be tough with Aaron Rodgers playing. Without Aaron Rodgers, right? Even at 3-3, like if the playoffs started today, they don't make it. You have Miami, you have Buffalo, you have the Ravens, you have Pittsburgh, you have Cleveland, who just went out and beat San Francisco. You have Jacksonville, who's just going to win their division walking away probably, right? And then you have Kansas City. I didn't mention the Bengals, who look like they might have got their stuff together, right? Like they have to, the Chargers who playing right now, like they have to be ahead of those teams to get in. And they don't have the talent. Right? Like for all this talk, or like the defense is keeping them in games, but there are going to be times, right? You're going to have to go out and outduel one of these guys. You're going to have to put the ball in Zach Wilson's hands. And he's going to have a shootout with a Justin Herbert, with a Josh Allen, with a Patrick Mahomes, with a Lamar Jackson running all over the field. Like it's just, I don't see it, right? Their defense isn't what people are saying. They're 13th in the league in points allowed. It's not like they going out there just shutting teams down. So they just beat Philly, but we've been saying for 3 weeks that Philly's not playing well. We've been saying that for 3-4 weeks. Like they're winning, but they're winning ugly. Like, Mike's like, Jalen has to tell me the game Jalen played well in. He played well all season. And when you set a bar for yourself, you the guy that was second MVP voting last year, went to the Super Bowl, the expectations are high. Right? Like, so he's in that echelon where the expectations are, and he hasn't played well. But Philly as a whole, every game was ugly. They have a nail biter with Washington and win in overtime, right? They win by 1 possession against Minnesota. They win by 5 points against New England, who's awful. So by all accounts, Philly was a trap game. They were waiting to lose to somebody, right? Maybe this will wake them up. But I don't believe in the Jets. Sorry, Mama Carrots Noodle. I just don't. I don't see the talent. Everybody saying they got Dalvin Cook and Bruce Hall. What are they doing?
Okay. So
just don't see it. I don't see it.
No, that's fine. John Scheer. Let me run down the list of quarterbacks that the Jets still have to face. They got to face Tyrod Taylor, Justin Herbert, I believe Jimmy G or whoever the quarterback is for the Raiders. They got to face Josh Allen. They got to face Tua twice, Desmond Ridder, TJ Stroud, Sam Howell, Deshaun Watson, and they finish with Mac Jones. Those are all the quarterbacks that the Jets defense has to face for the rest of this season. With all of that knowledge, do you believe you're saying 6?
6 more losses, at least. I counted right.
6
there.
more losses?
At least 6 more losses.
With this schedule that they have coming up, John,
Justin
you're
Herbert,
saying 6 more losses.
Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Tua twice. There's 4 losses right there.
They're not losing to Tua twice.
Howell's been not a terrible quarterback this year. Can you please bring that back up? Deshaun Watson, that Browns defense, that's going to be really hard. The Texans are going to be really hard. CJ Stroud's playing really well. Falcons are a tough team. Like, there's 6 losses at minimum right there. Remember, Zach Wilson has to go against these guys, like Ray said, and you're going to have to put up points. Like, you're playing Josh Allen. They're not going to get the Bills twice on keeping them low scoring. Like, that's just not going to happen. You're not going to hold the Bills down.
Thank you for missing my point, John, because I asked about the Jets' defense playing against those quarterbacks. You flipped the script and say Zach Wilson facing those defenses.
Right.
But I'll let you get go ahead, but you missed my point completely. But go ahead.
But it's kind of like that Cowboys game, right? When the Jets played the Cowboys. The offense was so bad for the Jets that it kept going 3 and out and giving the defense bad field position to cover. And they kept putting them in bad positions. And eventually your defense will crack if your offense isn't doing you any favors. And so that's what I think is going to happen, is the offense is going to keep putting the defense in bad positions, field position-wise, or Zach Wilson will turn it over. And that puts the defense in a precarious spot. And then eventually you crack because you're like, we got to be perfect. We got to play a perfect game in order to succeed. I just don't see it. That's at least 6 losses. They're not beating Miami. They're not.
Okay. All right. So I you know, John, we got receipts.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna clip this
for
when it does happen. I'm just saying.
Us.
Okay. Mike Carrottenuto, will the Jets make the playoffs? Do you want to see the schedule again?
Mama Carrottenuto sleep. Go ahead, man. Speak your truth.
She's awake. She would have made an appearance on the show and not stop talking about the Jets. She probably would have put John to shame pretty quickly. Look, I want to say defensively, this is a team that's still they've had 8 touchdowns scored on them, and yes, I know 3 yesterday, but they still have 8 picks. Defensively, they prove that they can stay in any game. Now you get those guys back. I can't wait to see that Browns game. The Dolphins aren't beating them twice. The Dolphins didn't beat them twice last year.
Tua didn't play either game.
Yeah, well, excuses, and they still put up 40. Tua wasn't going to make up all those points.
Are you sure? Why don't you go look at what the offense is doing this year?
I'm positive because he couldn't do it against Buffalo.
Okay.
A real defense can't do it against. But yeah, I know. Okay, we'll just ignore that. A real defense. I'm going to be contrarian and say yes. I agree 100% with Ray on the point of. Look at those other teams. The Chargers defensively, and not just because they're playing the Cowboys tonight, but the Chargers defensively have been kind of a mess. So that'll be interesting. And look, Zach Wilson, to your point, Eric, and we've said it, just has to not screw games up. And if he does that against those teams, look, anybody, same thing. Side note, though, if the Browns stay healthy, and it's not just because they beat the Niners, they still could have lost that game on a last-second field goal, barely went wide right. Point in fact being, though, those defenses are just going to keep you in games. Now, yes, can the offense do it? But Zach Wilson just really has to not screw up. Breece Hall, to your point, Ray, look where he's been. Yeah, the first 3 weeks, not really, because he was on a pitch count. And now that he's not, the Eagles defense slowed him up pretty much except for that last touchdown. But I think the Jets do make the playoffs. I think they slip in as the last wild card.
And that's all I'm asking. I'm asking, will they make the playoffs? I'm not saying, are they going to make a run to the AFC Championship game? I'm not saying they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. All I'm asking is, with that remaining schedule, the quarterbacks, let me go to what I was trying to say, but John clearly wanted to go in his own direction, and that's fine. John does that here on the Sports Arena each and every week. But more importantly, they're on a bye this week, okay, which gives them an extra week to get themselves healthy and ride that momentum, realizing that their schedule, in my opinion, on paper looks a little easier. Tyrod Taylor and the Giants, I love Tyrod, but he's never gotten a fair shake. We don't know where Daniel Jones is going to be, all right? But the Jets defense, I'm sure, could stop Tyrod Taylor and Saquon Barkley and Darren Waller. The Chargers, yeah, it just depends on which Justin Herbert shows up. I need Justin Herbert to show up tonight, but that's another story for another time. We don't know the health of Jimmy Garoppolo. And whoever the backup is for the Raiders, God bless him, because you know what? I think that Jets defense will be able to catch him. Josh Allen has a chip on his shoulder because they lost opening night, and they didn't lose to Aaron Rodgers. They lost to Zach Wilson. So you know Buffalo's going to come out. They're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. It's a divisional game. You got Tua twice. John, you're splitting with them. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm even willing to put something on that, which we can discuss at any given point in time. Then you've got Desmond Ridder and Atlanta Falcons. They're a young, up-and-coming team. But again, I feel like his inexperience versus Robert Saleh's Jets defense is going to be the victor. CJ Stroud, great guy. Love him. Excited to see what he does. Again, inexperience is going to be his downfall. Sam Howell is better be praying on everything that he loves, that he's got Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, and Eric Bieniemy in his corner, because Washington is always that up and down team. They play to the level of competition. That's going to be a great matchup. Deshaun Watson, everybody's talking about that Cleveland game, which is the second to last game that the Jets play. Depending on injuries and depending on the situation, I really think that game, if these two teams are vying for a wild card spot, needs to be a game of the week type scenario. And then against Mac Jones, I just say they're going to beat the Patriots. John, I can see at least 6 wins and eking out a 7th, which would put them at 10-7, and I think is good enough for them to slide into that number 7 spot, making it into the playoffs.
Hey, Eric.
Yes, sir.
So, I 1000% get the point about, I think you were saying the quarterbacks that the Jets defense has to face, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So, Zach Wilson can't go out there and stop these guys, right? But at the same time, you do have to, quote unquote, duel these guys, right? Like at some point, your defense, if they're doing their job, you as the offense still have to go out and like a game has never been won negative something to 0.
Yes, sir.
Right? You got to score some points. And this is a pass happy league. The old heads will say that it's catered towards the offense, right? You can't touch the quarterback, can't touch the receiver. Like passing is supposed to be easy. How many NFL teams in the league?
32.
32, right? Here goes some numbers for you, Eric. Right now, through 6 weeks, Zach Wilson, amongst qualified quarterbacks, is 29th in completion percentage. Zach Wilson is 31st in passer rating. Zach Wilson is 29th in QBR. Zach Wilson is 30th in yards per game. He has 4 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. You can't win football that way. Like you just can't win. I don't know. I think there was one game where he was like, wow, you're starting to see I think it was against Kansas City. Where he looked like he turned a corner. He just played with this kind of confidence. And maybe it was because he wasn't expected to be. I don't know what it was. But ever since then, he's been back to the same guy that made them say, we need to go get Aaron Rodgers. Right? Like, he's just not a very good football player. Like, I don't really know. I don't know, man. Like, you look at the guys who have more interceptions than touchdowns. And sadly enough, your guys at 7-7.
Yeah.
Right. But Daniel Jones, Ryan Tannehill, like guys like that's the ilk he's in. Let me see who else has more interceptions than touchdowns. Mac Jones, losing team. Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson. That's the caliber of quarterback he is. And that's just not a winning brand of football. Like, as much as they're like a feel-good story, Aaron Rodgers goes out and you're like, wow, they're 3-3, they're still competitive. Zach Wilson sucks, man. And in that conference, the talent is just the talent margin between the elite quarterbacks and him is so far. Like, Deshaun Watson isn't playing great, but you feel like the talent gap isn't that far. You feel like he could play at those guys. I don't ever feel like Zach Wilson can play at those guys' level.
And
ever.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Ray. What I will say is very simply this. I have seen, and I will quote what the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp said today on First Take. I have seen game managing quarterbacks win a Super Bowl. And I think at this point and at this stage, that's all we are asking, or the Jets are asking Zach Wilson to be. Don't turn the ball over. Don't throw an interception. Be a game manager. Don't make those idiotic mistakes that you have made in the past. Learn from them. Be better from them. Let the defense do what they can do. And here's something. Run the football. You got Dalvin Cook. You got Breece Hall. It's like, run the ball. What are the Jets known for? The ground and pound. You know what? I understand that you have a Christian Watson and a Randall Cobb and a Garrett Wilson. But Dalvin Cook run it angry, okay? That brother wants to rock. So does Breece Hall. Utilize those weapons, because I think against some of these defenses that they are going to come up against, they are going to be able to establish the run and just continually run it into them, run it through them. And then, yes, if you are asking Zach Wilson to do simple things, we know he can do that. But again, if he gets into a rhythm and he can start threading the needle like he did against Kansas City in the second half of that game where he held Kansas City, he held him and the defense, that entire Jets team, held Patrick Mahomes and the entire Kansas City team, offense, defense, to 3 points. 3. Find me another team that's done that outside of the Super Bowl. Find me another team that's held Patrick Mahomes to 3 points. Now, we all can agree Patrick Mahomes is the top, correct? It's Patrick Mahomes and then everybody else.
Something's off about Patrick Mahomes in that offense.
Answer my question, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying to you. If the Jets defense can hold Patrick Mahomes to 3 points in a half, not a quarter, in a half, and this defense is going to get better, and then you simply say to Zach Wilson, just don't F it up. That's it.
And Eric, to piggyback off your point, I know it was last season and every season is different real quick, but Breece Hall goes down and he was definitely, we did our quarter season awards, but last year, on the way to being Rookie of the Year, battling with his own teammate. Garrett Wilson became Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he had Zach Wilson, Mike White, Joe Flacco. He had 3 different dudes. So you just, to that point, you just have to figure you don't screw it up. Sorry, Ray. I just had to get that out there.
So this is one of those things where it's like, this ain't our uncles and our grandfathers' league no more, man. It's kind of like, in the 60s and 70s, you needed a Bill Russell and a Wilt Chamberlain to win championships. And then for the next 30 years, people kept drafting big men with the top picks, and it didn't mean nothing. People was drafting Tyson Chandler and Kwame Brown and Michael Olowokandi #1 because everybody looking for the next big thing. Meanwhile, guys like Kobe and LeBron and Steph Curry is winning championships because you don't have to have a dominant big to win anymore. This isn't 2000 and 1999. When we say, okay, a game manager can win. These are the last Super Bowl winners. Patrick Mahomes, Matt Stafford, Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. Carson Wentz, who, for whatever reason, was super good that year, right? No, not Carson Wentz.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles, right? Tom Brady again. The worst version of Peyton Manning we've ever seen. I'll give you a game manager there. Then Tom Brady, then Russell Wilson, then Joe Flacco, then Eli Manning, then Aaron Rodgers, then Drew Brees, then Ben Roethlisberger. Trent Dilfer ain't this ain't 2000. You know what I mean? It's just in this era, it can only last so long. And then you at some point you gotta score. And maybe, it's like it's an old school blue collar, tough brand of football. And it's like, yeah, you're not gonna win that way. I don't think so. I mean, that's just an opinion, right? Like put it like this. You know what made your guys turn the corner? Hurt stepping it up to another level. That's what was that changed it for Philly. If he's a game manager last year, you guys aren't in the Super Bowl. He became a superstar last year, which took y'all to another level, man. Y'all had the defense, y'all had the weapons, right? Y'all had everything but a stud at quarterback, and he said, okay. And man.
Okay. All right. Well, we mentioned Cincinnati, so that is moving on to our next topic, which is, are they back on top of the AFC North? Because here's the thing. For the first 5 weeks, we were unsure of what Cincinnati was going to be. Joe Burrow was playing injured. It just didn't seem like him and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and that defense just didn't seem to be clicking. Now, in the last 2 weeks, though, they seem to have found out their identity. So, my question, Mike Carrots Noodle, are the Bengals back on top of the AFC North, sir?
I think, yeah. I mean, I want to say yes, because I talked about, obviously, the disappointment the Ravens were to me. Yes, Justin Tucker kicked 6 field goals yesterday. And do I love Lamar Jackson? Do I think it can be there? But to Ray's point just now, at some point you have to score, just like Tony Pollard is getting stopped at the 15. Sorry. But no, you do have to score. And again, the rules, we agree, are made that way. But with Lamar Jackson, that's a frustrating part to me. Yes, the offense should be running smoother. But look, that's the most mobile Mr. Burrow has looked, and we all know because of the calf. We talked about it, and I was with you, Eric. I thought he should have been sitting out. There was no need for him to play, and I still think they would have had the same record. That's the crazy part, right? They're 3-3. And he actually needed to move around yesterday because Seattle's defense was getting there a little bit. But Jamar Chase, I'm sorry, that 7-Eleven thing, always open. I mean, he took that and ran with it. So that's just awesome. But to me, if they do match up with the Ravens, I'm going to lean. It's going to come down to defensively. Can they make the plays? Do the Ravens have the dudes that if they 1 or 2 plays have to bracket a Jamar Chase, have to stop him? Can they do it? Yes. But if the Bengals play like that and T. Higgins gets healthy and Burrow's moving around more and Mixon is a healthy mix into the offense too, I don't see how they don't take this division.
Okay. So their next couple of games, because again, they are on a bye this coming up week. Then they have Big Guard with the 49ers. Then they've got Buffalo, Houston, 2 AFC North divisional opponents in the Ravens and the Steelers, and then the rest of their matchups. They end against Cleveland, who they coincidentally started with, so I think that game is going to be very truth-telling. When I look at Cincinnati, I have to simply say, okay, where are they? 3-3. Again, Mike, you and I were like, Joe Burrow needs to sit the first couple of weeks, get that calf healed, and then come out and do what you have done, because the bar for Joe Burrow has been the AFC Championship game. Same as Patrick Mahomes. So we have got to, at some point, and I'm not trying to throw shade on Josh Allen because y'all know I love me some Josh Allen. I do. Who got Diggs? I love that. But we have got to recognize that these specific quarterbacks, since it is a quarterback pass-happy driven league now, we have to start putting an emphasis on an onus on we just anticipate. I'm not going to say we assume it to be the case, but when they have shown, like you were saying before, Ray, at some point the quarterback has to go out there and duel these other quarterbacks. Well, Joe Burrow has proven that he can do it. So are they back on top? I am going to say, for me, yes. Even though they have this next 5 weeks, going until the end of November, playing against a San Francisco defense that is top in the league, playing against a defense with the Buffalo Bills. Now, they're minus Matt Milano, but I still say Von Miller going to be that dude. Houston, as John said, they're an up and coming team. So let me see what a D'Amico Ryan defense looks like. You know what I mean? And then you've got, Mike, to your point, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens again. And then you have the Steelers. So you've got 2 divisional games back to back. Again, throw the rule book and everything else out the window because everything and anything is going to happen. But I still feel like this team will rise to the occasion. And at the end, that game against the Browns on January 7th of 2024 will be, if it's not for the division title, it'll just be simply for maybe at that point Cincinnati will have it sewn up, and Cleveland will need to win. It'll be more about Cleveland winning than it will be about Cincinnati losing because their position won't change. I feel they're back on top. Ray, what do you say?
God, I'm going to give my best impersonation of Michael Carrot-Nudo and give you both sides of this, because when you asked the question, part of me wanted to say, well, they should be, simply because, like, as bad as they played through the first 5 weeks, right? And here they are sitting no further than a game out, and it's like Baltimore didn't take advantage. Pittsburgh really isn't good, but here they are sitting number 2 in the division, right? And Cleveland battling injuries. They playing with a backup quarterback. They lost Nick Chubb for the season. So it's like the opportunity is there for them to jump back in the mix. The problem is I have to stay consistent, right? Everything I just told you about Zach Wilson, Joe Burrow right there. Like, every number I just gave you about Zach Wilson, Joe Burrow is in the same stratosphere as him, right? I don't even know what I have it sorted by right now. I got it sorted by completion percentage. Joe Burrow is 23rd. If I go to yards per game, Joe Burrow is 24th. If I go to passer rating, Joe Burrow is 26th. And if I go to QBR, Joe Burrow is 27th, right? He's playing like a bottom 5 starting quarterback in the league. And this isn't a team that's built like the Jets where you go, he can manage the game. No, this team is built like Buffalo. This team is built like Kansas City, where everything rests on the arm of their quarterback. Like, for Cincinnati to be what people expect them to be, or for them to reach their potential, Joe Burrow has to be great, right? Like, he has to be great. We don't expect him to be a game manager and they win, right? They've won 2 games scoring 19 points and 17 points. That's not Cincinnati Bengals football, not the Bengals we know now, not with him and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, not that offense, right? They look atrocious, and they're squeaking out wins. And they're not built in a way where, like when your Eagles were winning and we went, man, they're winning ugly games. Or Kansas City, they winning ugly. That's kind of scary. No, it's not scary with the Bengals because they're luckily winning ugly, and it doesn't look like there's a turn up in sight. It doesn't look like as soon as this happens, they'll be fine. It looks like Joe Burrow isn't right, and he's not going to be right because he's constantly playing. So I don't know, man. It's like it's open because Baltimore kicking 6 field goals a game, that's not going to cut it. Pittsburgh shouldn't even be in the running. And again, with, shout out to the big guard when San Francisco goes out there and blows the game against the backup quarterback. So everybody's in the conversation, but Cincinnati's not the guys that I would peg as the front runner, right? Not the way Joe Burrow's playing right now. He has to be one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the game for them to be great. He's not that right now.
Well, this bye week helps, but yes.
John Shear.
I tried telling you guys beginning of the season.
Would you stop saying I tried telling you guys? Just come on.
I should do a segment called I Tried Telling You Guys.
Fine. Ladies and gentlemen.
How about Who Knew I Knew?
Yeah, that it is called Who Knew I Knew. But we're going to get another segment for John Shear called I Tried Telling You Guys.
Oh, thanks. Their defense is 17th in scoring, 24th in yards per game given up. So their defense is not good. They're 3-3, but the Ravens formula has always been winning ugly. Like, that's always been Ravens football. Kicking field goals, relying on Justin Tucker. So Ray, like that's been the Ravens' MO since, like, defense and run game and kicking field goals. That's been the Ravens' MO since 2000. Like, it's always their thing. The Bengals have to score points. And like you said, Joe Burrow isn't going to get any healthier. Maybe he gets a little healthier after the bye, but I mean, you're going to keep playing on that calf. You got to win by scoring. Your defense is not good. Oh, and by the way, you gave up a Pro Bowl caliber guy in Jesse Bates in free agency, and you replace him with basically nothing. You lost a bunch of pieces defensively. You got nothing back. and your defense is worse, as I said, 24th in yards and 17th in scoring. So you can't rely on your defense, and you got to rely on hobbled Joe Burrow. T. Higgins is in a contract year, and he doesn't look like the T. Higgins we saw last year. And Joe Mixon's a shell of himself. So in the line, the line last year was decent, but Joe Burrow still got beat up. This year the line's even worse. He's getting his ass kicked every time he drops back. So Joe Burrow's constantly getting beat up. I just don't see it. The Bengals, the Browns defense, top 5. The Ravens defense is 4th overall in scoring. So I don't know how you're going to get past those defenses when the Ravens already went to your house and stomped you, and now you got to go to Baltimore and play there. I just don't see how the Ravens can get back on top of the North. The division's just too top heavy. It's just too top heavy.
Okay.
Dude, T. Higgins is dealing with the rib.
Mister, I like to
talk about injuries. He's dealing with the rib now. Came back and played yesterday. Their defense, you're right. And we talked about this last year, though. Remember, Ray? Lou Anarumo, even though they did lose to Kansas City last year, but the year before, when they went and played the Rams and lost, Lou Anarumo defensively in spots can dial up. I mean, look, Geno Smith, we're not saying no one here said he's a top-tier quarterback, but after what he did last year, Eric, like you said, he kept receipts, and he performed all last year. He doesn't look bad this year. They held him to 13 points yesterday. They got after him. So I'm not saying Seattle's world beaters, but their defense in positions can do that going forward. This bye week's going to be huge. And yes, if Baltimore keeps kicking field goals by Justin Tucker, they'll even get beat by the damn Steelers. And the Browns defense, like we learned, I mean, not just yesterday, all season, what Myles Garrett is built to do up front, he's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, it's going to be defensive battles. And to Ray's point, you have to be able to score. And yes, Jamar Chase can take the top off, and he needs to do that. This bye week's going to help. And I mean, at least Joe Burrow was able to move around a little more because, John, there was a few times yesterday in that game, if it was when he played Tennessee and couldn't move like we saw, he was going to get killed again.
All right. And, John, to your point, I'm just going back and looking. You said that, the Ravens came in and stomped Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That game was 27-24.
The game wasn't as close as the score indicates.
They scored the only quarter that Cincinnati didn't score was the first quarter.
That game wasn't as close as the score indicates. Watching that game, the game was not even close.
Okay.
The Ravens dominated that game.
All right.
It was
I'm
going
off of what I see, and it's like, well, if they dominated, I'm expecting like a 70-20, but that wasn't it. It was 27-24.
They handled them. They look like the better team.
Okay,
the Ravens are just better.
It's like Buffalo handled Miami. So
all right.
was.
Let's get to the last topic here
Arizona
tonight on the show. Again, with my man John Shear, Sideline Sports. Forks Up, my brother of 18 years, Mike Caratanudo, and my co-host, the sports reporter without pay, supporting all things black and proud. My man, Ray Lynn's in the building. So, last topic of the night. So, Cleveland, they beat, granted, last-second field goal that got missed. But regardless, the San Francisco 49ers got their first loss of the season. They are 5-1. And conversely, Philadelphia Eagles lost to the New York Jets in 20-14. Philly put up 14 points in the first half and didn't sniff the end zone after that. And Jake Elliott missing a field goal. I think I aged about probably 20 years on that one because that brother's been lights out for the first 5 weeks of the season. So that being said, and I'm just going to slide Ray over here because, if it was a big guard, I'd put the big guard here. But are these two teams respectively sitting at 5-1? Are they still the top dogs in the NFC?
Well, it's like Harry Potter. There should be a 3-headed dog. I'll say yes, and it's not to butter him up for anything as he picks on me even when I compliment him. But the Lions should be in there too. I mean, they're showing what they can do. So, look, yes, they are. It pains me to say that, to see that freaking Eagles mascot up and big guards, big mouth running and stuff like that. But no, I mean, all kidding aside, like, look, they both have the offensive lines that can do it. This whole Philly winning ugly thing, we're all just going to agree to disagree. I said from the beginning, if you're running the ball down somebody's throat for 200 yards in a game, you don't need to pass. People want to see passes. If I'm coaching, Eric, I don't care. I'll turn around and give it to your running backs and say, cool, here's 9 yards of carry. Shove that down a team's throat. And look, Brock Purdy, I mean, no Debo, no McCaffrey, still takes him down the field with a chance to win the game. So I mean, yeah, he didn't show any real cracks right there. So absolutely, but yes, with the side note of Jared Goff playing really well, they're spreading the ball around. Jameson Williams had a big touchdown, getting healthy. Other receivers are just blossoming in this offense. So yeah, there's 3 big dogs, and none of them have a star on it. But Brandon Cooks did just get a touchdown, Eric. So that's my saving grace to complimenting your team.
John Shear, our San Francisco, Philadelphia, and for this conversation, sure, we can throw in Detroit.
No. You can't put the Lions there because the Lions have never been the top dog. Can't say, are they still the top dog? They were never the top dog. It was always no offense. It's nothing against the Lions. It's you can't be still the top dog if you never were the top dog. So no, the Lions can't be in this conversation.
This is this year. Mike. The question is in the NFC this year.
No,
it's not
still top dog. The Lions have never been the top dog. They were never there with the Niners or the Eagles. They were never there.
In the past, we're talking this season. We're talking this season.
Okay,
yeah,
for
this season they've never been in that
conversation.
They still are.
The teams that everybody did focus on in preseason were the San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys were the 3 teams in the NFC. So to John's point, he is correct. The Lions were not the focal point. And the question is, are San Francisco and Philadelphia still the top dogs? So for this conversation, John, go ahead.
Of course, they have to be. They're the most talented teams in the NFC. They have the best coaching in the NFC. They've done it. They have the pedigree. They have the championship pedigree where the Eagles have been there. The Niners have been there twice, like in recent memory. Like as far as the teams that are constructed right now, the Lions haven't been there. They haven't gotten to the playoffs.
All right, so move on. We're not talking about the Lions.
I'm just saying.
I understand. Okay.
These 2 teams, that's my point, is these 2 teams are still the top dogs. That's my point, because they've been there. They're the most talented. They're tied with the best for the best record. They're still, until somebody knocks them off and knocks them out of the playoffs, they're still the top dogs.
Okay. So we have 5 teams, coincidentally, that are 5-1. 2 in the AFC, being the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, and John Shear's Miami Dolphins. On the NFC side, yes, we have 3. San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, and sports reporter without pay, his Detroit Lions. So, Ray, I'm going to ask you, are these 2 teams, San Francisco and Philly, still the top dogs in the NFC?
See, this is stuff I'll be talking about. This is like Eric been on me for 2 years now about believing in the Lions. Oh, you don't believe in your Lions enough. And now that the Lions are out here boasting a top 5 offense and defense, well, top 10 defense and a top 5 offense, right? And then you see when Debo Samuels and Christian McCaffrey go down, Brock Purdy looked lost. Did anybody know Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't play last game? You didn't, because we scored 42 points without him. That's what happens. I don't even like doing this. And then somebody get John Shear back on the screen. He want to talk about history and who been there and who did what. John, who the best team in the AFC?
That's Eric. That's not me.
Sorry, I'm working here. I'm trying to get it. I promise you, I'm getting it. Technical difficulties.
Who's the best team right now
in the AFC, John?
Are we talking about top dogs?
I'm asking you who the best team in the AFC, John.
It has to be the Dolphins.
It's the Dolphins, right? You gonna tell me what my Lions ain't been and ain't been there and done that? When the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game, John?
I never claimed we were still
2000.
top dogs.
2000. What do you think top dog mean?
No, but I never said we were still top dogs because we were never there beforehand.
We're talking about who the best. So that means the answer to your question, if Eric says, are Philadelphia and San Francisco still the top dogs, and you believe Detroit is supposed to be, then your answer to the question is no. It's not they haven't been there and done that. You think Miami's the best team in the AFC, and they haven't won a playoff game since Barry Sanders was still playing. Since 2000. That's the last time Miami won a playoff game, John. Zip it.
Hey, look,
Zip it.
Miami
Zip
has
it.
the most yards.
Take him off the screen. I don't want to talk to him no more. That's that bias stuff. When it's Miami, we don't care about the history. We don't care the fact they ain't won a playoff game since 2000. They out here putting up 70 points on people, so they the best team. If Detroit is going out and proving it, then give them their props until proven otherwise. Y'all know, I've been doing the show 3 years now. I don't get here and talk about my Lions. I don't get on here and cap like they something they not supposed to be. Last year, I think I previewed them at like 8 wins. I was like, you don't believe in them, dog. I just call a spade a spade. And what I'm seeing right now, they are one of the top 2 teams in the NFL. The only team I think is more well-rounded than the Lions is that team right there. Like, I think a fully healthy San Francisco team don't have no holes, none whatsoever, right? I think the quarterback position leaves a little bit to be desired, but the way the team is structured, he can get away with just doing the bare minimum because the weapons are so explosive. I can hand it to McCaffrey. I can toss it to him in a flat, and he's going to turn it into 25. But on the score sheet, I threw a pass for 25 yards. I can throw a 5-yard slant to Debo, and he turned it in 17. I can hit George Kittle over the middle. I can hit Brandon Ayuk. Like, he can do a lot because they have so many weapons. Then he got the best offensive lineman in the game. And then that defense is just – like, San Francisco is loaded. But, dog, we going to stop sleeping on my Lions. That's what we going to do. Like, and I ain't been able to say this in my adult life. We ain't going to play with my Lions this year. Eric, no disrespect. If we going off this year, Philly ain't better than Detroit right now. If we going off this year, the only argument Philly has as being better over Detroit is, man, they the reigning NFC champs, right? So they get the benefit of the doubt. The same people that will tell me if you do a power rankings, well, how do you put the Lions over Seattle and they beat them head-to-head? Well, then tell me our head-to-head win over Kansas City don't matter. No, dog, we gonna quit playing with my Lions name, dog. We're not doing that no more. We're not doing that at all. Like, and Philly got some work to do to say that they the top. Right now in the NFC, it's San Francisco and the Lions. Because I'm not like San Francisco lost to Cleveland, but I can't disregard the first 5 weeks where they was just beating people's heads in, right? Bro, we going out putting hurtings on people, dog. And you go, oh, we beating the people we supposed to beat. And we did beat Kansas City. Like, we're not going to take that from us. No, dog. Put some respect on our name.
Did you ever see that segment?
No, John, zip your lip. Because I got one thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to get it off my chest, okay? And I'm going to quote one of my favorite lines. I'm just going to modify it. And I'm going to say this directly to the man who is a fan. I'm going to say this to him, and I need you to hear me when I say this. This is not a rant. This is me speaking to you, okay? Now, that's how you're supposed to talk about your Lions. From now on, that's how you talk about your Detroit Lions.
Yo, hey, wait, I was on him last year, too. I know you were, too, but I said he needed to have more faith.
No, I mean, listen, the entire sports arena, right? Man, yeah, but y'all don't understand, like, the disappointment as a Lions fan.
Yes, we do.
Man, listen, and mind you, I've seen some of the greatest players to ever play this game, man. I think we have, in my opinion, in our franchise history, a top 5 running back and receiver talent-wise to ever play this game, right? You can call Barry the GOAT, and I don't think Megatron take a back seat to nobody. And we had years we had plenty of talent. When we had Stafford, Reggie Bush, Megatron, we had Ndamukong Suh, Nick Fairley, Big Play Slate, and we couldn't get past 10-6 in a first-round playoff loss. That's just what the Lions have been. But this feels different. It's the first time in my adult life where I go, man, this team really might be on to something. Right, like, and in other years when we thought we were good, you would never hear me talking about us because I'm like, dog, it's fool's gold. This team for real, man. They playing with a different. Oh, Aiden Hutchinson is the real deal. He's a game changer.
As you say, speak on it, Ray. Speak on it, man.
Bro is a game changer, right? You're gonna talk about Jamar Chase. You're gonna talk about Stephon Diggs. You're gonna talk about Justin Jefferson. You're gonna talk about Devontae Adams. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, that boy, nice. David Montgomery having a career resurgence season. Jared Goff, if he was playing for any other team with a cuter uniform, he'd be an MVP candidate, right? I'm just saying, bro, like, we doing our thing, and until otherwise, dog, we gonna put some respect on our name. Just that simple, man. No, to answer your question, no, Philly is not one of the top dogs. I'm gonna respect San Francisco because what they did in the first 5 weeks, we thought them boys was going 17-0 the way they was playing. So I'm not going to take a 1 week playing without their 2 best players. Purdy had a bad game. They stunk it up and still almost pulled it out and missed a field goal. So for all intents and purposes, when I do my power rankings, I'm going to still have San Francisco at top. But guess who's going to be sitting in number 2? Not in just the NFC, in the NFL. Detroit Lions. Yeah.
Okay.
We'd walk you dry if you played us.
You know what? I'm tired of you because I got something for you, too. Hold on, Mike Ray. I'll be right back. I got something for you right
Bring
now,
it
son.
Sunday.
No,
Come
no.
on.
That's what I'm talking about. And I'm glad you said that because you do understand something, John. First off, this game ain't down in the 305. It's in the 215. And you do recognize the fact, very simply this. See, we suffered a loss. And after the game was over, there was a players only meeting. So, John, you have to understand Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Waddle, Bradley Chubb, and the Cheetah must now come to Philadelphia on a Sunday night, and we angry. You do realize this, right? Yo, Dolphins don't go upstream. So I want you to bring everything you possibly have into Philadelphia on Sunday night because I need you to understand. And please look in my eyes, John, because you better than anybody know when I speak with conviction and I speak with truth that it just does. This isn't just Eric throwing out SH sugar honey iced tea. Okay. Let me be very clear to you. What you are going, no, not you, because you ain't gonna beat it. And if you go to the game,
I'm gonna try.
don't wear Dolphins gear. I'm just gonna give you that piece of advice, John. Don't hurt yourself. But look at me when I say this to you, and please understand something. When you come into the Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday night for Sunday night football, you have to understand this ain't a 1 o'clock game, John. This ain't a 4 o'clock game. We done had all day, all that anger, all that frustration, all that hatred we got for losing to the Jets in a game that should not have been a loss. And see, we're going to hold ourselves accountable. But my brother, I wish nothing but the best for Tua, for Tyreek, for Jalen, for Bradley, and the rest of your squad. But your team is going to get handed an ass whooping. It don't matter the outcome. Your team is not going to be the same. Consider this, and I'll use a reference. I'll use a wrestling reference. Shout out to my man Denzel. The Miami Dolphins are walking into Hell in a Cell because we are pissed the F off. So be prepared. That's all I'm gonna say to you.
All right. I'll remember this next Monday when your head is down, just like that game Monday night when the Cowboys beat the Eagles a couple years ago and we were live on Sports Arena and your head was down and Mike was giving you crap. I'll remember that next Monday. Make sure you show up. I don't want you sick with the flu.
John,
I don't want
John,
you.
my name's not
got
John
no Michael
Shear.
Jordan flu game.
My name's not John Shear. Okay.
I
When my
show
team
up.
loses like they did yesterday, who was the first man on the screen, John Shear? I'm the first man. I'm just gonna do bad boy references all night, I guess. I'm the first man to walk in and I'm the last man to leave the building.
But you did not
what?
lose to a John Shear team. That's much different.
John,
you had to face me.
I lost
no
to a
Jet fan
team
here.
with Zach
Ain't
Wilson.
no Jet fan here. You are facing
I
a
lost to a
Dolphins
team
fan.
with Zach Wilson. Okay, that's who I lost to.
But you're talking crap to me, so
because you wanted to run your lips about Sunday Night Football coming up. That's what you wanted to do.
Yeah,
so since you decided to do that, listen, I give it to Mike each and every week, and Mike and I only play each other twice a year. That's just the hatred and the love we have for each other. But see, this is again. This is you gonna be that dude that's gonna make me do the unthinkable. And on Christmas Eve, I'm telling you, you getting closer and closer, John, to where Christmas Eve, when Miami plays Dallas, I'm gonna do the unthinkable.
Don't do it.
If I do, I'm blaming you.
Best part is, John's gonna have every excuse when your defense runs over him, just like the Bills defense did. See, it's funny because unfortunately the Eagles have the types of dudes that Buffalo has that can sit there and be like, oh, here's another interception from Tua, but John's just gonna have excuses. So I'll just wait for that. Just like Ray said, 1972 is the last damn thing you got.
Oh, by the way, John, did Mercury call you back?
No, he never called me back.
No, that wasn't a joke. That was real. John actually did call Mercury Morris to congratulate him. I was just curious. That was real.
Nah, he never called me back.
Oh,
I'll call him tomorrow.
All right.
See if I can get a hold of him.
Fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us on the Sports Arena tonight, man. As always, I love doing it with these brothers each and every Monday night, 10 p.m. Y'all already know what time it is. Next Monday night, I'm just letting y'all know, no matter which way it goes, someone going to be happy.
I knew they was going to go for that, Mike.
And someone, John Shear, is going to have every excuse in the book. Real quick before we get out of here tonight, one thing, And I do have to give my apology to the sports reporter without pay. And I apologize, sir. I did not put up your crown. You were the Sports Arena Weekly Pick'ems champ last week. And I apologize
was that back to back?
That was back to back, sir. Yes.
Was it 3 out of 5 weeks?
3 out of 5, sir. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yes. 3 out of 5. The sports reporter without pay. Weeks 1, 4, and 5. He has been our Sports Arena Weekly Pick'ems champ. Weeks 2 and 3, yeah, that would be this guy right here. So for the rest of y'all, like the father tomato said to the mama tomato, was told the baby tomato, all y'all need to catch up. Anyhow, much love to everybody. We will see y'all next week. Peace.